Thursday, another time for us to get to you at this hour. It's State of the State on Osrc television, and this is where we try as much as possible to lay bare some of the issues currently happening in society. I'm Sahid Aribisala. Welcome to the program. After the 2023 general elections, particularly as the race for the inauguration of those who have gotten mandate of the people continue to intensify in terms of the preparation towards that period. At this time in the political circle, what is also dominating discuss is who gets what at the National Assembly. But that will not take center stage on this edition of the program. For today, we take a look at of religion on a secular state, the Nigerian experience. You remember, heading into the 2023 general election, during the election itself, and of course post-election, we're having issues or having discourse around this particular place of religion in Nigerian society. When you take a look at what the Constitution says about religion, Section 38, subsection 1, of the 1999 Constitution as amended says every person shall be entitled to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, and freedom to manifest and propagate his religion or believe in worship, teaching, practice, and observance. But what exactly is religion? What role, what position is it taking in a secular state like Nigeria? This morning, I'm being joined by Mr. Folayemi Abdulaziz. He's a former national president of the Muslim Student Society of Nigeria, MSSN, and also a social commentator. Earlier, we're also expecting to be joined by another guest on the program. But while we wait, we'll continue the conversation. Good morning. Good to have you on the program.
Good morning, Mr. Harim Salah, and good morning to our viewers at home.
The fever or the spillover of the 2023 general election is still very much here with us, talking about how the discourse or the direction of discourse in society is going at this particular time. We still have issues about how well the institutions started with this election have performed. But of course, the issue of religion also came to prominence heading into this election. But before we even spotlight the 2023 general election, as it were, how secular is the Nigerian state?
Thank you once again, the moderator. I have been here on many occasions to argue the fact that Nigeria is not a secular state. Go and check any English dictionary, and you find that the meaning secularism, if it is used in that way, as well as all the features of a secular state, does not exist in our country. In fact, the opposite is what exists in our country. If secularity means non-religious or worldly affair, Nigeria is a very religious state. We have the religious institution having a very strong stick as far as the country is concerned. Of recent, a pastor came out and was saying he's a stakeholder in this country, and all his arguments premise on the fact that he has multitude of followers, and indeed is actually a stakeholder. That is the truth of the matter. Nigerians' conscience, Nigerian thinking is always shaped either in the church or in the mosque or according to their traditional beliefs. Nigeria, one of the features of secularity or secularism is a country where the country does not have anything to do with religion. They don't even give religious institutions any aids or assistance. But in Nigeria today, religious institutions are assisted by the government. Religious institutions are being involved in governance. Religious institutions are cardinal part of decision makers in the country. So how do you define Nigeria as a secular state? Nigeria is never a secular state. And for information, because this always disturbs me, when you see learned men coming around to come and tell us Nigeria is a secular state, the word secular does not exist in our constitution. And that's a fact. The word secular or all its acronym does not exist in our constitution. Peradventure, some of the definitions which people are exploiting is a situation where nobody is discriminated based on his religion. Fine. But that does not mean that Nigeria is a secular state, because even in our country we have Sharia law. Nigerian constitution recognizes Sharia law, and Sharia law originates from Islam, and Islam is a religion. That is the truth of the matter. So how do you now come here and tell us that Nigeria is a secular state? Nigeria is never a secular state. But Nigeria is a multi-religious state.
Going by this definition or this insight provided by scholar Dr. Godwin Okeke, says secularism is a system of social organization that does not allow religion to influence the government. You believe government is being influenced,
and that is what I'm contesting. Religion is influencing our government today. When you go to government gatherings, they normally start the program with Muslim prayer or Christian prayer and end with Muslim or Christian prayer. Even at the Federal Executive Council level, even at the state cabinet level, they start with prayers. They recognize religious bodies. When Ramadan is around, you see the governors as well as the president asking Nigerians who are Muslim to pray for the country. So religion has a very cardinal role in shaping our country. That is the truth of the matter, even going by that definition.
But when you take a look at part of what has been advanced for a secular state, the fact that everyone gets treated equally, regardless of religion, that's also happening here in Nigeria.
And everybody not discriminated based on his religion is one of the features of secularity or secularism. But the truth I'm telling you is that that is also obtainable in Nigeria, because that is enshrined in our constitution, because Nigeria recognizes all religion. Nigeria recognizes all religion. As a result of that, the caveat is that nobody will be discriminated based on his religious belief. That does not mean Nigeria does not involve in religious organization. That does not mean Nigeria is not partaking in religiosity. That does not mean Nigeria is not assisting or aiding. Even there are laws that were stepped down because of the cries of the religious people. There are laws, you know it, you are a journalist. There are laws that were recently passed by the National Assembly, but it was stepped down because it's a particular religious organization felt that it is going to haunt them. So the religion was stepped down. I mean, the constitution, that act was stepped down. Meaning religion has a very powerful and strong influence in our polity and our governance.
Over the years, when you take a peep into history books and how this has also fared in terms of the interplay of religion in Nigeria, in terms of its contributions to governance, how well have you handled that?
You see, when we have our government in Nigeria today, we have produced reverend fathers of government, and they have done their own wonders. We have a governor in our state here. For 8 years, he was using the government money to fund what they call it, praise night worship or whatever. For 8 good years, he believed in his own wisdom that this will be God's intervention in the administration and governance of the state. So religion have actually played in one way or the other. The religious institutions have assisted the government in giving people proper orientation. If actually they are doing what they are supposed to do, the religious institution is supposed to calm the nerves of the society, make them to believe in those people who are leading them, because it is God that gives power. That is one of the cardinal teachings of a religion. So by so doing, they are going to reduce the prayer or the agitation of, toppling the government or doing away with a particular government or particular people who are actually running the government. So religion have actually played its own part in that aspect. But what I don't agree with is a situation where we call Nigeria secular country, and we want to downplay the role of religion, and we want to, in a subtle way, ask the religious institution to step aside. I will not agree with that. I think that is a political tool that is being deployed to subjugate some section of the society.
So, good, you've made those submissions, but when you look at how even the governance system or politics has evolved from centuries up until now, there was a time where theocracy was the in thing, where religious leaders were running the affairs of government. It got to a point in time where all of this also started to give way to what we now have as eventually as democracy. When you put all of this together, and talking about the influence which you've rightly said, is playing out in our governance, particularly here in Nigeria, theocracy, democracy, should those two be going side by side?
You see, it is based on how we define democracy and how we define people's involvement in the government. If democracy is just the voice, the government of the majority, that is obtainable in every society. Even in the so-called theocracy, it is the majority that is ruling. when some minority felt that they have all the capability to take over government, they become majority by the time they become the rulers. That is equally obtainable even in Islam. The majority will continue to provide and dictate who governs and who leads. That is the reality. So when we look at the democracy as a kind of a subtle way of rearranging the society so that the majority will always have their way and the minority will have their say, it has not precluded the fact that it may have the touches of religion in it. For instance, in Nigeria today, Nigeria recognizes multi-religiosity of the citizen of this country, and it equally recognizes the fact that everybody has the right to practice and profess his religion. As a result of that, the peculiarities of various religious organizations or religious setting is considered, and that is what brought about the issue of Sharia in Islam. In Nigerian constitution, and that is what led to even the establishment of Sharia courts in major part of the north, and even the southern Muslims are agitating that we equally want Sharia because the governance, the kind of democracy we are practicing in this country, recognize the fact that religion has a role to play in ameliorating and resolving civil matters. That in fact they said the religion is the best approach to resolve civil matter is to explore the provision of individual faiths and individuals' belief. And it has been proven that it actually works in the best way, rather than in the so-called secular way. What I mean by secular here, the kind of common law that was imported from those who colonized us. So in Nigeria today, Nigerian constitution recognizes that even civil matter can be handled in the religious institution. If you go to the palace of the king today, there are a lot of civil matter that is being resolved there. If you go to church today, there are so many civil matters that is being resolved, and it is recognized by the government. And it is recognized by our constitution. In fact, if it is resolved, you take it to another place, they will make recourse to what those institutions have actually dictated. So religion, as far as the democracy we are having today, it doesn't have any problem. There is no problem, there is no friction between religious practice as well as our own type of democracy we are practicing. Because when democracy is being brought, it has to be domiciled, acclimatized with the situation you find at your country. It's not just a kind of bringing and then you swallow it like that. You have to domicile it to look at the situation here and try to make it to suit the situation of the country you are introducing to, or else it will not work.
So you're likely to say that the success of government in this society of ours would also be
cannot be completed without the religious institution. That is the truth of the matter. You cannot conclude the story of the success of the governance in Nigeria without praising the religious institution. They have actually tried a lot. They have actually contributed a lot to the kind of the calming nerves of people, making people to believe in government and actually making the society to be stable.
When you talk about the religious institutions and religious leaders trying enough, it also begets a question, because some Nigerians say we're not at that point where we should be. Perhaps we also should have gone further in terms of development when you look at our peers and all of that, and the abundant resources that we have.
Who are those peers they are referring to?
Wouldn't it also be safe to say that while we finger governments to say they've not done enough, the religious leaders who you have rightly said are partners for this progress to be achieved, they also have a hand in this?
We are human beings and we have very high level of incapability or incapacitation. The way we are created by God, we cannot do everything, and that is the truth of the matter. The so-called giant countries we are talking about, what is happening is that they project their goods while they hate their evil. That's the reality. The kind of insecurity that goes on in America, 1/4 of it is not happening in Nigeria. These are the realities, and the facts are there. But they will project their good and they will hate their evil, as if there is no ghetto in America. It's only in Lagos that you have ghetto. It's obtainable everywhere. It's like there is no entire road in America. There are entire roads in America. There are entire roads in Britain. But the truth of the matter is that those places will be hidden. There is a way you can project Nigeria to look like El Dorado, the land of gold, and there is a way you are going to project Nigeria to look like a ghetto. The problem we are having today with our journalists as well as the media, the social media operators in Nigeria today, they continue to project the evil in this country. We are not perfect. We have our goods and we have our bad. As far as every country is concerned in the world, the whole country in the world is concerned. They have their good and they have their bad. But most countries, They have orientated their people to always project the goodness in their country. Why they work on the deficit? Why they work on where they are lacking?
Is that same in Nigeria?
It's the same thing in Nigeria, my brother. That is the reality. We have areas the government have exceptionally performed. And we have areas where they have not been able to do. They are trying to make it up. And nobody can do everything. You cannot expect Buhari for just for 8 years to turn Nigeria to the land of gold. It's not possible. America was not America because of yesterday. America is over 1,100 years ago. Nigeria is not, is still under 100. America is more than 200, 300 years. You're a journalist, you know better than I do. Do you want to, somebody, my father and I, you want to compare the kind of asset and the achievement my father has gotten with mine? It's not possible. By the time I get to the age of my father, then that is when you can now assess me based on my achievement with what my father have actually achieved. If we get to the age of America, then we can start analyzing Nigeria with America. But for somebody to sit down now and be analyzing Nigeria with Britain, that person is making a very big, because it took it to their country to develop it. And you want to compare that America now, you want to compare Nigeria with Britain.
But for us to get to that point, just like you said, the religious leaders are also partners in progress.
Yes.
Some have also argued, because just like I read from the Constitution, perhaps it's also time to now canvass spelling out the position of religious leaders, just like traditional rulers are calling for involvement in the scheme of things in Nigeria. They want recognition.
It is
also
good.
Look at that.
It is good if Nigerian Constitution spells out the rules of various institutions, especially the non-gladiators, the traditional rulers, the religious leaders. If their role is better in the constitution, is better. But as at now, their role is in the realm of advisory. They give advice to the government. They speak to the government. They consult with the government. The government consult with them. Government invite them for discussion when there are issues. When there is this committee. The national program is concerned. They have tried as much. They were the people that convinced the immediate past president, Lord Jonathan, to accept whatever that comes out of 2014 or 2015 election. And it actually worked. Because if the president then did not accept the defeat, only God knows what will have happened to this country. So the religious institutions are actually trying to douse the tension as far as the country is concerned. They are strong partner in the progress of this country. At least Nigeria will only develop when there is peaceful society, when the environment is peaceful. And the religious institutions have actually assisted. I was with one of the religious leaders of recent, I think last month in Abuja. He was telling me that the kind of pressure that is on him, that he should speak. If he speaks, Nigeria will boil. But in his own wisdom, the peace must continuously be maintained. We need peace for development as far as the country is concerned. And that is what the religious institutions have been doing. So nobody should come and tell us that we should separate it. We cannot separate it. Only what we are going to do is, how do we resolve a situation where religion is deployed as a political tool to subjugate some people or to win votes? That is what we are supposed to be discussing.
We'll get to that conversation in the course of the program, particularly just like you mentioned, spotlighting what transpired or what gained prominence during the course of the 2023 general elections. But when you look at still on the roles of religion in the secular state, which is quite sensitive, looking at the diversity in Nigeria. We have different religions in Nigeria: Muslim, Christian, traditionalist, and the rest, even those who do not even lay claim to any religion. But within all of this, we still have what could be referred to as clashes, coming out. Just like you mentioned, religious that are dousing tensions, they are contributing to the development of the country. But perhaps their followers say have clashes. Just for example, you go to Osrc State. Recently, it was in the news that some religious group had some form of clash. In that essence, it still brings the man.
And it's become messy. The government will not be able to control it. So the religious leaders have tried to maintain peace. Okay, this is what is happening. We look for the normal civil and legal means to arrest those people who have actually perpetrated the evil, not going into excesses. Two wrongs will not make a right. That is what religious leaders have actually been doing in this country. We may have the black sheep, we may have the bad eggs among the religious leaders. Maybe by the time we get to some other conversation, we'll talk about that. But the truth of the matter is that the major religious leaders in the country, in this country, I salute them. They have actually assisted this country in maintaining peace and order, and that is the premise, that is the foundation for development of any country. If there is no peace, there is no order in any country, even investors will not come. Look at it, even when the so-called insecurity have taken us to in this country, it has affected a lot of things, and it has debarred so many progress and development as far as the country is concerned. Now, if you now add civil unrest into it, because some people are brutalized, some people are maimed, some people are injured, some people, their statement becomes uncontrollable to the level that they have to make people to go on rampage. You imagine what will happen to this country. So the situation where some people will go and attack the other is unfortunate, but we still give it to the religious leader that they have been able to maintain that peace by calming people's nerve and seeking for the normal civil and legal means to arrest such situation. That is the best thing for any country to develop.
Let's take this break at this point, and when we return, we'll continue our spotlight on the role of religion in Nigeria at this time, particularly as we also prepare for a change of government in terms of the May 29th inauguration of the president-elect in the country. What roles going forward will these religious leaders what roles are they expected to in a short while? Welcome back. Students Society of Nigeria, MSSN, who is also a social commentator. Earlier we were expected to be joined by Ademi Sokuntati, who is also a religious leader right here in Ondo State. But let's continue this conversation. Looking at what played out, because it's still the recent test in terms of the decisions Nigerians have had to make in recent time. The 2023 general elections, there were a whole lot. When I say a whole lot, when you go to public conversations, online and offline, you find conversations in this country. This is not the first time, but perhaps the volume was quite different at another level at this particular time. What do you think contributed to that?
You see, Nigeria is known with one thing. When you drive around the town, you can see recklessness in average Nigerian. And this is also reflective in our politicians. Because the politician does not come from the moon. They are from us. They evolve from us. Buhari is not from the moon. Agredolu is not from the moon. None of them is from the moon. They are from us. They evolve from us. When you move around the country, you see people behaving with impunity. They do things without considering the interest or even the emotion of the others. And that's actually played out even in the last election. In flagrant disobedience with even the chapter 97 of the Electoral Act, who went ahead, they used religion to campaign against Muslim ticket that it will not stand. Some people recklessly goes and address their congregation that the president-elect is not their president, it is not the president of Nigeria, and the likes and like that. And nobody is arresting them. Nobody is questioning them because they know they will say it. The last time somebody was there was saying that they are going to invite a terrorist group. Note, IPOB have been declared by the international community as a terrorist group. IPOB has been declared by international organizations. Forget about Nigeria now, Palace, saying that it's going to invite a terrorist group to come and defend them. But when the government hunt him, he ran away. That's to tell the government that recklessness can be controlled when the government actually take their rightful position. Somebody goes to his congregation because he believes he controls a particular million, let's say even million, maybe 10, 5 million, 2 million, 3 million people. He believes he is so powerful that he believes that he can unleash terror in on the country because things does not go in his way. That is simple recklessness. That is abuse of religious privilege. Religions is meant to bring peace and glad tidings to a nation. Religion is not meant to preach doom and catastrophe. But unfortunately, some religious leaders recklessly have turned their religious empire into prophesizing doom for even the nation where they have their greatest assets. If Nigeria burn down today, your asset will go. That's the reality. It was messy in this last election, and it was very, very unfortunate. This is not the first time we are having Muslim tickets in the country. We have had Christian tickets in this country. There are so many states in this country that are still operating on Christian level. The heaven have not fallen. But this time around, maybe some people, and that is the reason why I say some people deploy religion to subjugate some other people. So when it is not in their favor, they feel it's all right. But when it is in their favor, they feel everything is okay. But when it is not in their favor, everywhere must be burned down. This is very, very unfortunate as far as the country is concerned. And we so much claim that we are tolerant. We are hypocritical with that statement.
When you talk about, because in the earlier submission before we went on that break, you spoke about the symbiotic or the relationship between religion and government, which is supposed to be partners in progress, as it were, to bring about development. So when you just also spotlighting this aspect, which negates what it should be, just like you said, what does that tell us as a people, as a country?
You see, there is a question you could have asked me. What is the influence of politics in religious activism? You see, the problem we are having these days now is we are turning Muslim centers, Christian center as APC, PDP. That is what we are turning everything into. So if it is APC that wins, they win everything, and other party will lose completely. Whatever investments the other party wasted in the last presidential activity or presidential campaign or whatever, or the last electoral activities, whatever they will have invested has gone to null.
Why did that notion thrive?
It's thriving because everybody have an interest to protect. I don't want to speak about the so-called leaked audio conversation between a presidential candidate and a particular bishop in the country. I want to talk about they debunk it. There are controversy even within their camp. One of the spokespersons says that it is true. There was that conversation. Another one says that it is doctored. Another one says that it is fake. Which one do we believe?
Really?
These are conversations within their own fold.
Of course, when you talk about
a particular spokesperson says that it is true. Another one says it is doctored. Another one says it is fake. Which one do we believe? Is it fake? Is it doctored? Or is it true?
Let's reduce the tempo. When you talk about all of these things thriving, definitely religious leaders also have a role to play, just like we said that they are partners in progress.
Why I'm referring to that, why I'm referring to that is that statement. I am not taking a position on it, but I am cautioning our politicians with being reckless in whatever they say. It has implication. I don't have dual citizen. Most of them have dual citizens. They have another country to run to. Some of them are using diplomatic passports. They don't need visa before they get to any country in the world. We don't have. You don't have. So if the country burn down, the next flight they are out of the country. They should not burn down this country for us. We have a stake as far as this country is concerned, and we don't have another country to run to. Our politicians should not partake in recklessness, and they should not drag the religious institution into it. Unfortunately, the religious institution have been dragged into it.
Is it a case of the politicians dragging the religious institution into it, or the religious institutions are allowing themselves to be dragged into
it is a case of the politician dragging them. That is the truth of the matter. And that is my opinion.
You don't follow them when they do.
That is my opinion. They are dragging them because they kind of woo them. They kind of woo them with baits. You will not regret supporting us. You are going to benefit immensely, and they have benefited in the past.
As a leader,
yes, I today, with all humility, I'm one of the religious youth leader in this country. We know what obtained between religious leaders and the politicians. Some of them are given immense gifts, gift that is even beyond their imagination, gift that will make their generation not to be poor again. So that is bait, and they are being deceived by it.
And these are the people you still, just like you said, still come forward to, speak to people, and people still hold them to their word.
So what do we do? They are the people that the people are respecting because they claim divine. They claim divinity, that it is God that is speaking to them. An average human being will look up to somebody. That is the reality. An average human being will look up to somebody, whether it is right or wrong. An average human being will look up to somebody. If it is very, very unfortunate for you, then you look up to the wise evil.
So it's wrong to say religious leaders dabble into politics. Yes.
The religious leaders have actually gone into politics. That is the reality. Is the reality.
Is it wrong?
I can't say it is wrong. It is right for the religious leader to be part of politics, because politics talks about, governing humanity and bringing development, making people's life to be better, providing what human being needs. That is all about politics. That is what politics brings about. It is part of the responsibility of the religious leader to equally come into it. We have to provide for our people. We have to make life easy for our people. We have to provide infrastructure that is going to make things work for people. We have to talk about development of people. They have right to open opinion to push, but when they now turn it into, it is either we win all or we lose all, then it becomes a problem. And that is exactly what is happening today. Some religious institutions have so much seen politics as their last investment, and they are going to do anything to protect it. That is exactly what some religious institutions have turned politics into today.
How do we forge?
Some of religious institutions today are fighting because of the last 8 years. They have not been able to benefit in what they have benefited in. That have fleets of private jet before. But since this administration came in, they could not maintain it. They have to sell a lot of them off, and they want to continue to be in that balance. That is exactly what came into some of these religious institutions and make them to turn away from their divine responsibility.
So how do we forge a way forward?
They are supposed to intervene in the areas of development, all around development to humanity, because it is that development that is going to make life easy. We are going to live this life in preparation for the heaven. We are not going to live a worse life or precarious life. Religious institutions will not make people to live a precarious and hard life. Life should be blissful for an average human being. It may not necessarily mean that everybody will become a $10 or Dangote, but at least you should be able to provide. Life should provide you with your basic needs that will establish or build foundation for your development. And it is the responsibility of the government to do that. So religious institutions will assist the government in maintaining their normal track. The politicians should not derail. They should not move away from their track. They should focus. The religious institutions should hold them that you have made this promise, fulfill it to the utmost of your ability. That is what is expected of religious institutions, not turning themselves into political parties where they are supposed to be father of all. If you have 4 or 5 children, one of them is in PDP, one of them is APC. If you are a sensible father, you know in our own adage, if the PDP guy wins, it is favor for your family. If the APC guy wins, it is the same, it is blessing for your family. That is how the religious institution is supposed to view politics, not making it that we are for this and we are against that.
It's a season for setting agenda for the coming administration of the president-elect, who will be the nation's emsman come May the 29th. And just like we've rightly discussed in this program, the issue or the tension or the issue of religion, the ethnicity, coming to fore at this time in Nigeria's history. The coming president will also have a lot on his hands in terms of how to douse all of this tension. What do you think he should begin from?
The incoming president or the incoming administration should consider, number one, all inclusiveness in his administration. It's very, very important. Everybody must be brought on board. It's very, very important. No part of the country should be secluded. He is no more the president of APC. He will be the president of Nigeria by May 29. And he will be the father of all. Everybody's rights must not be jeopardized. Everybody's right must not be trampled upon. People must be given their rights. And they must be made to know that this is the government that will protect them. That is very, very important. As a result, the government must be fair, they must be just, and they must be equitable. The government must be fair to everybody. It is not obtainable anywhere in the world that the whole country or the whole citizen or the whole eligible voter will vote for a particular candidate. It's not possible. What we need is, since you have won the majority vote, you are to carry everybody along, because every development that you brought into this is just like that of our Creator. I'm a religious person. When God is raining water, He will not seclude the house of somebody who does not believe in Him. The rain will fall in the farm of the people who doesn't believe in God. Rain will fall in the house of the pastor. It will equally fall in the house of the imam, as well as the ologun and everybody, even including those people who doesn't believe in God. So that is a template for a government. You are not the government of everybody. Your administration must impact on everybody's life. People must wake up and see you as this is actually the kind of leader we want. But a caveat for Nigerians: we should not expect much. Nigeria is still growing. Don't compare Nigeria with
from the things.
We should not expect much that Tinubu will come and within 8 years, it took Lee Kuan Yew to develop, forgotten Lee Kuan Yew, it took him 16 solid years to establish the foundation for the development of his country. Nigerian president will spend 4 years. Will spend 4 years. 4 years. That is what Nigerian president will spend. 1 year for review. The last year for campaign. So an average president in this country only has 2 solid years to involve in real governance. If he wins the second term, the same thing happens. He will only have about 4 or 5 years to perform. What expectation, what miracle do you expect to turn a country like Nigeria into?
So you think?
So Nigeria should not expect much. That is the reality. Listen to my voice, because some people will come here and will tell you, "Anybody man," it's not true. People are hungry in America. There are bakers in America.
You think that foundation has not been laid yet? You think it's a case of another president come, say he wants to lay?
So another
one comes, say I want to lay foundation.
My brother, if you have built a house, you build foundation. At a particular time, you get to window level. At another time, you go to lintel level. Another time, you get. As far as I'm concerned, we are not even getting to the window level in Nigeria. This is the reality. We have not been able to to overcome our infrastructural needs. I know a child that is born in Ondo State. I have never seen a train before, except it travels to Abuja or travels to Kano. The train line must pass through Ondo State now. It will be part of the duty of the next administration. Where the train line stops now, it must pass through Akure, at least for our children to see train. Some of our children have never seen it before. The airport was built by Babangida. It was only during the time of Mimiko and the present government that it became commercialized, that people started seeing plane. Before, our children never saw plane before. These are developments. As far as Nigeria is concerned, in my own estimation, we have not even gotten to the window level. If somebody will be able to help us to take it from that level to the lintel, we are good to go. Another person will come and put the roof. Then we now start talking about finishing. America that we are comparing to, there are ghettos in America, there are beggars in America. There are beggars in Britain. People who just see those countries as if it is paradise. There are hell there.
In all of these things, the Nigerians also have a role to play in terms of the support they'll give government, and of course, just like we mentioned, the issue of religion and how people, have allegiance to, sects and all of that. So now that we've been able to establish that, there are some who could be referred to as partners in progress, and perhaps others who could also, qualify for eating of the polity. For the average Nigerian, where you place, is it a Muslim, Christian, traditionalist, or perhaps anyone who does not believe in any religion, but you have all of these people making the Nigerians living in Nigeria. So when you put all of this together, what should that consciousness be? What should that consciousness be in the minds of an average Nigerian? When you look at that, religion is also somewhere here. National development is also somewhere here.
Let everybody who is passionate about the Nigerian project be active and alive to his responsibility. It's very, very important. Let everybody be active and alive to his responsibility. When you want to criticize the government, criticize constructively, not destructively. These are some of the things we are taught in the school. There are ways you criticize somebody destructively. There is nothing is good about him. He has destroyed the whole system. Everything is bad, and the likes and the likes. These are some of the ways that our people are good at. Criticize constructively that you did not do this well. This is an option. This is what we have done to make it better. But the truth of the matter is that if everybody in this country play his role, my brother, Nigeria will be better. People are not playing their role. Everything is put at the doorstep of the government. People are not paying tax. The next question is that those that are paying, what is it this week is being used for? But the road to your house is tarred. You think if the governor went to his own father's house to go and bring money? It's part of the money that is being. It is part of the tax money that is being used for it. There are infrastructure that have been developed. Education in Nigeria is the most subsidized as far as the world is concerned. The government is getting money from somewhere now. If you are not playing that, and that is just one infinitesimal part of our responsibility as a citizen of this country. If we play it, things will be better. We are not playing it, and little wonder maybe the government is not equally doing its own responsibility too. Because the kind of person you are, this is in the religious realm. The kind of people you are, the kind of government you are going to get. If we want our government to be good, let us be good as far as citizens is concerned in this country. Most people that criticize the government are corrupt people. They are thieves. People have said that those people that are criticized, those people that are calling some other people corrupt, is because they have not had the opportunity to lay their hands on wealth. If they have the opportunity, they will be more corrupt. Some people say that the number of people that are waiting to steal is more than those people who are already stealing, as far as this country is concerned. And these are empirical facts. If somebody who is just made a director, owning 33 cars, building so many houses, where did he get the money? I have supervised a project in this country. I have supervised a project in Ondo State, a project that cut across the whole state. I supervised a project. People who brought the funds for the project were demanding for debate, and they're civil servants. And these are the people that are claiming that the government is corrupt, somebody is corrupt. In their own inner office, they are more corrupt. So, for your information, even some politicians have told us that it is even these so-called people that teach them how to corrupt. They are the people that will tell us that there's money here. Okay, this is the way you are going to maneuver the money. Of recent, even a VC of a private university is sentenced to jail because of corruption. And everybody will sit down and be blaming the government. So in a nutshell is that let everybody play his role. Let everybody be responsible. Let us do what is right. Everybody knows what is right.
One of the institutions that will also have somewhat of a huge responsibility in conscientizing people and changing the narrative, the mentality towards the positivity that you said. Also the religious institutions.
The religious institutions must do their own. They must. You see, one thing is just disappointing. It's just the bad eggs. We have excellent, smart religious leaders in the country that actually meant good for this country. I've had the opportunity of meeting some of them. But unfortunately, some of those leaders prey on the congregation and equally prey on the government. They develop their wealth. Most of the wealth they front around is not actually from the congregation. It's what they get from participating in politics or what the other.
Can also have that strength to decipher when someone who you refer as a leader is perhaps not going the way it should be.
Yeah, people have been doing it. People have been changing their religious centers. People have been doubting their religious leaders. People have been doubting them. People have resort to if you watch the social media, some of the fallout of the last campaign or whatever. You see some people say that they are not going to a particular religious center again. They have lost faith in their religious leader. They are no more confident in their religious leader again. People are taking those decisions. It's just that it is not in the front burner. Most religious decision is personal decision. Some people have resorted that I don't believe any religious leader again. I just believe my Bible or my Quran.
Thank you so much. Folayemi Abdulaziz, former national president, Muslim Student Society of Nigeria, MSSN, social commentator for coming on the program today.
Thank you very much.
That's the size of our conversation for this morning. We'll be back next week, Thursday. I'm Sahid Aribisala. Bye-bye.